So we're back with pieced round 3 of our medallion quilt. We have it to this point with our center kind of star and our first pieced flying geese border. It's starting to really grow, and this next round has nice big blocks, so it's going to get much bigger this round. The cut list for this round is really short. It is 20 8.5-inch squares of your yellow fabrics and 40 4.5-inch squares from your aqua fabrics. However you want to distribute those colors or cut from the excess of the previous rounds, you just want to have like a nice variety of colors to work from if you're going from that scrappy look. And we're going to be using these to make this shape block, which is kind of a snowball block that is going to fit perfectly, kind of nesting into the tips of our flying geese so that it looks like the points kind of continue from border to border. This round is a great one to just kind of chain piece. You can set up kind of all of your pieces and just kind of whip through them pretty quickly. So we're going to make 2 kind of chain piece to show you the process. I have already marked the diagonal of my 4 smaller aqua squares. I marked these lines with my favorite tool for doing this, which is a friction pen. Now, friction pens do come back in the cold, and they don't fully remove themselves from your fabric with heat, but they do generally disappear. So I love to use them in this type of setting where I am drawing a line for stitching or cutting on the back of fabric. This line will be kind of on the inside of a seam allowance. So even if it comes back, it'll be fine. I like these pens so much because they do write so well on fabric. The kind of dark colored pens work really well on these light fabrics, and some of the brighter colors show up really well on dark fabrics. So these are a great thing. I bought one of those packs that has like 12 different colors in it, and I use them all. I really like these pens. All of my favorite little notions like this, like these pens, my favorite pins, my little adjustable seam guide here that everybody loves and asks about. I have lists of all of those things on my kind of Amazon list thing that is down in the description below. And you can find just about everything that I use in a video in that list, including my sewing machine, my camera equipment, anything that you might be curious about. So now that I have these diagonal lines all marked and ready to go, we are just going to align these to a corner of our larger 8.5-inch square. And I'm going to stick a pin in these just to keep it nice and aligned. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of my squares. I only have 2 here, but you would have 20. And all of the squares are made the same way, and you are just going to be kind of mixing and matching the shades of aqua to the yellows. Just kind of get a nice even distribution. Once you have kind of one corner of all of your yellow squares covered in an aqua square, then we are going to sew on the line, which really means just like a thread width to the outside of that line. And that will give us enough room to kind of ease over this aqua piece and still have like a nice sharp 90-degree corner. To chain stitch, all I do is once I have finished with one kind of unit, I am going to use the knee lift on my machine, which is something that I didn't always use, but I've grown really attached to it over the past couple months. I'm going to use my knee lift to just gently lift up that presser foot just a little bit and slide the next piece under. And I'm going to put it right next to the needle so that I can continue sewing, lower my presser foot, and then keep sewing. And I would continue that through all 20 of the squares if I was doing them all at one time, but I just have the 2. So you end up with all of your pieces kind of attached with just a little bit of thread between them. Now you can use scissors to clip them apart. You can use one of these handy little cutters that has a used rotary cutting blade. You can even use the little cutter on the side of your machine if you just need to clip apart a couple of pieces. I do that all the time when I just have 2. Once we chain piece all of one side of our large yellow squares, we're going to rotate them around and do the same thing on the other side. You're just going to align the small squares And make sure that your stitch lines are parallel. You don't want to be stitching kind of into the middle of your square. You want to be going just right along that corner. When I was working on my chain piecing, when I was doing all my other blocks, I had kind of one large pile of all of my yellow squares, and then I took my large stack of 40 aqua squares and kind of split it into a couple of piles so that I had kind of a sample of colors available to me, and I could pick the next one that wasn't exactly like the one across from it so that I would have a little bit of variation in each block. Now you could absolutely stop here and just cut off the excess fabric and press these corners out and you would be done with your block. But I hate throwing away that little bit of fabric, and you are making 20 of these blocks, so that is quite a bit of waste. So I'm going to do what we did in the previous video and sew another line a 1/2 inch away from our existing seam line so that I can save that little extra bonus half square triangle unit. And at the end of this quilt, I'm going to have quite a few extra half square triangle units. This time, I'm just going to eyeball that 1/2 inch. I eyeballed these, but they're pretty close to 1/2 inch. I think as quilters, we get pretty good at eyeballing 1/4 and 1/2 inches. So now we are done with our units. You can go ahead and press these snowball corner out and press the seam allowances in whichever direction you feel most comfortable. If you want to go ahead and press all of your half square triangle units for little bonus pieces, then you certainly can. I'm leaving mine like this and just kind of tossing them into a pile to deal with later, but at least they're not going in the garbage can. So, yay! Once you have made all 20 of your 8.5 inch snowball aqua and yellow units, it is time to make our border units. So there are 4 blocks that go on each side of this quilt, and then there are 4 blocks that go in the corners. Just like in the last round, we had those 4 kind of background corner pieces. This time they're just more of these blocks. So we're going to make 4 of these 4-piece side units, and then there will be 4 blocks kind of left over for those corners. So these are the corner squares. So we want to make sure that we make this 4-unit piece in this zigzag orientation. So we want this first piece to be in this yellow up and to the left kind of orientation. And then each piece from there will match the yellow seam. So we're going to match this yellow piece here. And then this yellow piece will match up. And then this final piece will match this yellow seam here. So we're creating that zigzag. And right here is going to be where that yellow piece of our flying goose fits in. So these lines will look like they continue down into that flying goose unit. So if you don't have this orientation quite correct, if you end up with, instead of this piece pointing up and to the right, if it points down, then it's not going to interlock with that previous round. So just make sure you can lay out that center piece that we've already finished and lay out your snowball pieces around it, just to make sure that they're all pointing in the right direction. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these 4 pieces together into one side of our border unit, and then we'll be ready to attach the whole thing to the previous bit that we've been working on. The part that I'm really concerned with matching in this round is this blue kind of snowball to snowball corner seam. So that's where I'm kind of placing my effort in lining up. So I'm just going to make sure that those seams are nicely on top of each other and put a pin there. And then I can do any fudging towards the outer corners if I need to. But once those are aligned, just sew with a 1/4 inch seam. Since none of these seams are intersecting, they're all parallel, I'm just sewing my whole 4 pieces together and then I can press them all at the end. Since those seams don't intersect, they're not going to interfere with each other, and I can kind of save myself that transition time between my pressing surface and my sewing machine. I have my side unit all pieced, and if I had thought about it a little bit more, I maybe wouldn't have put these same two blues right next to each other, but it is what it is. I have my 4 corner blocks ready to go, and I have my other 3 side 4 units ready. So I'm going to lay these out just like we did in the last round. The 4 border pieces, the center block that we've been working on, and those 4 corner units. Be sure to align your corner units so that they connect the yellows around the corner, and that diagram will be really helpful so that you have a nice continuous kind of zigzaggy look to this border. I'm going to sew it together just like I do a 9 patch, and then we will be done with this round. This is a really easy round, lots of chain piecing, and it's pretty big, so it really makes a big impact in your quilt. Once you get those borders attached, here's what the final result looks like after round 3. I think this round is a lot of fun. It brings in a lot of that kind of sparkly teal fabric, aqua fabric, and in the next round, we will be continuing the points outwards with both the yellow and the blue with some different size triangles. So the next video will be the last video. We'll talk about that final pieced round as well as some border options to enlarge your quilt if you would like it to be a little bit bigger. So I hope you join me for the next video, and until then, happy quilting! That's fun. I have a phone call, and it's a spam risk. I don't want to talk to you, spam person. Love it. Love it!